NBA Finals Practice Media Day number 4 in the books. Today we got to catch up with Pacers and Thunder players in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. What are they saying about the series, the bench play of last night, and so much more? You'll get to hear it all in a bonus Locked On Pacers right now.
You are Locked On Pacers, your daily Indiana Pacers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, y'all? Happy Friday-ish, Friday Eve, whenever this comes out, and welcome into a bonus edition of the Locked On Pacers podcast, where we, of course, talk about the Indiana Pacers. As always, my name's Tony East. I cover the team for Forbes, and today I'm home from a crazy day in Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The Fever, Pacers, and Thunder all practiced. So many people to talk to, so much to get to, but this is Locked On Pacers, and we're going to let you guys hear, as we have before, every single game day from Pacers and Thunder players. You don't need to get all the updates on the series from me when you can get them from the people playing in the games on the court. Although I thought today was quite interesting because, one, there was less media present because there was shorter time between games. Less people need all the extra things. But two, the way the series has kind of gone, a lot of the bigger stuff, the early challenges found in the series, have not been solved necessarily, but have been buried as storylines in lieu of smaller things, right? The Pacers bench was very good. Their stars were good. Shea was slowed, but not shut down, all this stuff. And things that are like not necessary for like a lengthy conversation, get tons of opinions from everybody, like it was earlier in the series with the Thunder figuring out some things against the Pacers after game one, or the Pacers figuring out their points in the paint stuff and all these sorts of battles. Now it's more little stuff. And today was very interesting in that way, in that I talked to basically all Pacers reserves, a few starters in the way, as you'll hear. But there wasn't any like big theme to what people were asking players today. And obviously I can ask whatever I want. If I want it to be thematic, I could. But I kind of wanted to get to, just a little more detail-oriented stuff about this series. And you'll hear that today, asking Ben Mathurin, for example, about the differences in his emotions from last year to this year, because leading up to the playoffs, he talked a lot about how much it hurt to not be playing, and then to have a game like that. I can imagine that being quite an emotional thing for someone like him, right? Who's had to deal with the absolute lowest low and then follow it up with the highest high of the playoffs at a stage like this. We talked to Aaron Nembhard again about all the things that he did quite well in the game, and the things the Pacers happen to be doing quite well in the series. And he's very subdued about strategy, as everybody is at this time, but he was very impressed with the bench, and he did lots of stuff well. And the Thunder side's really interesting too, because they're doing a good job, I think, of keeping the big picture alive and well. And Alex Caruso, who you'll hear from today, was an interesting one to hear from, because it's so easy to follow the Steve Nashism that Rick Carlisle keeps using of, when you win in the playoffs, it never feels like you're going to lose again, and when you lose, it never feels like you win again. That feeling is so true for every team in this series and every series the Pacers play, just because their wins are so loud and their losses are so loud. But Caruso, the reason I'm bringing him up is he played for the Lakers in that 2020 finals when the Heat went up 2-1, right? And he was on a team that was losing at that stage, and obviously that was the bubble, but they came back and won the next 3 games. He's been a part of, a situation like that. I continue to like hearing from Aaron Wiggins. I think he's been part of a lot of crucial things in the series. I got to catch up with him today, and just lots of good time with Aaron Nesmith. I talked to him about TJ McConnell, not the teammate, but when he was with the Celtics, what does he remember about playing against TJ McConnell? And McConnell himself spoke today. So you'll get lots of updates of that kind of variety, if that's something that interests you. With game 4, a shorter gap between games. That was one theme that did pop up today that I found to be very interesting, right? A lot of people were asking various players here and there, what do you make of there only being a 1-day gap? This is the only time of this series that it's not 2 days between finals games. And I've had some insinuate to me that helps the Pacers because of the way they play, their wear down affecting their pace. But I don't think it does. I don't think it hurts the Pacers. I just don't think it's any more or less of an advantage for either team. Both teams have pace and depth and youth, and I think it's just a different kind of game. We'll see how that matters coming off of a win or loss. In fact, for the Pacers, who have Haliburton dealing with this lower leg thing and Myles Turner, who's sick, Myles Turner was not there today, right? Rick Carlisle told us after game 3 that it was possible he would miss practice, and he did. He did film, but not the media stuff because of his sickness. You just never know, right? So if anything, it could be the opposite of the insinuation. We'll see. Obviously, the Pacers' pace has so far been a slightly more noticeable in these games. Regardless, you've heard enough from me. It's time for you to hear from Pacers players. 5 Pacers, I believe, today, and 2 Thunder players, maybe 5 and 3. I can't remember the ratio. Let's get to it. But before you hear from any of those people, let me talk to you guys about Game Time. There's nothing like the NBA playoffs, the intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere you must experience live, and this year's matchup is delivering. If you want in, Game Time makes it fast and easy to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. Prices on the app drop closer to tip-off with killer last-minute deals, panoramic sea views, and no surprise fees. Game Time, a total game changer. The finals going on now. If you want to come to Game 4, you never know. You can see your exact seat view before you buy. They have the Game Time guarantee, so you know you're getting the best deal. And, of course, also, the NFL schedule is out. The games are known, the location, states, times, all that. Great NFL tickets, seats as low as $100, exclusive discounts on Game Time with that Game Time guarantee. You know you're getting 100% authentic tickets on time at the best price. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKDOWNNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Back here on Locked On Pacers. Thanks for making me listen. Intermediate between full podcast length episodes. Back tomorrow talking Game 3 with Rylan Stiles, and of course after Game 4. Now let's hear from players and get right to it. And do you remember playing against TJ when you were with Boston and that pestiness? Did you ever have a possession handling against him?
I do, man. I remember I was sitting on the bench like, who is this guy, bro? This guy, man. 6'1" guy coming over here causing havoc. But yeah, he's, like I said, he's unreal, man.
What did you think of the bench in general last night? And I know Ben Mathurin had the game that he's been hoping to have this playoff, specifically how he kind of elevated that whole unit.
He's huge, man. Ben is such a talented guy. When he plays like that, we're very hard to beat. And we're going to need that from him. They're a great team over there. We got great guys over here. We need Ben to continue to play that way. We need TJ to continue to play that way.
You were healthy with Boston when you weren't playing as much in the playoffs. He literally could not play last year. What's that feeling like of having to watch and then coming in and eventually playing in a postseason?
You look at the game differently. You pick up different nuances. You understand the importance, and it's sometimes it's a wake up call. Like, gosh, this is I miss it, and you take some things for granted, and when it's taken away from you, it's you're just that much hungrier to get out there. So.
You don't typically see that many turnovers from you guys. Did you sense anything from Indiana's defense that they might have done differently in game 3 there?
Yeah, I mean, they just brought, the physicality and pressure, and we just kind of allowed them to do so. But like I said, being who we are and who we've been all season, it was uncharacteristic. Just got to get back to, the way that we, always play and having that force on a consistent basis. So
you just kind of hinted at it, but I keep seeing the stat about how your 2 losses in the finals have been the fewest passes thrown games by you guys like all season. What do you think they're doing that is causing that to be a symptom for you guys?
I wouldn't say there's necessarily anything they're doing. I would say, some part of their pressure is just kind of affecting the way that we're, sometimes maybe making reads. But that's more so in our control. We've got to play at our pace, play the way we want to play, and play our brand of basketball, which is sharing the ball and finding guys to create good opportunities.
It's just a mindset. I just get in the game, knowing what I have to do, knowing whatever it is, whether it's to dive on the floor or make shots, I'm willing to do for my team to win.
Is it strange to think you really had a big role in turning that game around yesterday? You came in, the place was hyped. Could you feel that energy from the fans as soon as you went out there?
For sure. I think the fans, they play a big part of us winning the games, especially at home. So, very, very grateful for the crowd, and I'm looking forward for the same thing tomorrow.
Ben,
what allowed you to move the ball better offensively as a team and then contributed to the increase in team defense as well? That was the best performance of this series for you.
I would say just sitting on the loss for a couple of days, just being able to watch a lot of film and pay attention to details. That was the main key for us, and I think we've done a pretty good job of being locked in on the right things, so that's the biggest thing for us.
Ben, you talked a lot about how hard last year was for you having to watch all these playoff games and not be a part of it. How does it feel to have a game like you had last night where you not only are a part of it, but having, the game of your life on a final stage?
It's good. I'm looking forward to play as hard as, I did last night for tomorrow's game. And, it was great, because all of this would have meant nothing if we lost the game. So the main thing is just to win the game, and I was able to have my team do that.
Have you been able to zoom out today at all and think about the moment you just had within the context of focusing on the rest of the series you guys have ahead of you?
Yeah, you could say that. I have plans. You got to wrap it up soon. I'm trying to bake. I'm trying to do a little cookies tonight. So, I'm trying to get away from it. I don't know yet. I'm still
improv.
Thinking, yeah.
You talked about making him work. You guys are picking him up higher than before in the series, as high as anybody's picked him up. You also delivered him a lot on the other end of the floor. How much do you think those body blows kind of take a toll in terms of like fatigue throughout the game?
I think we're trying to make it tough on him. The biggest thing is just be persistent, try and make it tough on him. It's a team job. We got to all be locked in and tied together on that side before we get it done.
Drew, how much of your pestiness comes from yourself, and how much have you learned from playing with TJ all these years?
I think it's a little bit of both. I've definitely watched TJ a lot and seen how he's impacted the game and how he's been instrumental to his own success and our team's success. And I've also felt like I've had a little bit of that in me just growing up and wanting to be competitive and taking those battles a little bit.
What makes those inbound steals possible when other teams knows that's something he's going to do and he can still get them 3, 4, 5 times a game?
I'm not really sure. He's just so sneaky with it and got a good feel for it. And a lot of experience, a lot of tries probably.
Andrew, how big is this game for you guys? You can make 3-1 the series at the same time. OKC can regain the home court advantage. How is this game for you guys?
Well, I mean, each game in the playoffs is important. We're coming in with the same mentality to play hard and stay together.
You've been in this position and never once down and tied in this series and won it finally. Which one you should say should be the one to first adjustment picture?
Yeah, I think just the competitive greatness for this team has to be an all-time high. To be able to go on the road and win a game is a difficult thing in the playoffs, but especially being down, staring 3-1 down in the face. You gotta really get your mind right and get ready for the preparation that it's going to take to go out there and compete for 40 minutes and get the win.
It's easy to handle the situation between Shea and Jaden. They lost turnovers 10 between them. It's weird. It's easy to correct that. Talking about them.
Yeah, I'll have to go back and actually look at the actual turnovers. I'm not sure where they came from, the specific plays, but yeah, I think that's an abnormal game for them. I think their norm all year has been to take care of the ball and to get us great shots as a team. So yeah, I expect them to find that formula.
How you doing? This is Premier League. I know you're going to say it's your job. But 5 steals from the bench, you change again your energy with Obi and Bennedict, etc. Were you nice about yourself doing that in the finals?
I think our group, it's a feel thing. When we need to inject energy, I think we do a good job of doing that. And like you said, just trying to do my job. Really, that's all it comes down to. Nothing more, nothing less.
For you, what was the key yesterday? The level of intensity of the defense, 19 turnovers, or that second quarter was amazing, 40 points, and the closeout. Which one would you pick at the moment of the beginning?
I'm not quite sure. I just think as a group, we just need to be tied together on both ends of the floor because we're going against a great team who's extremely well coached, got the MVP of the league. So we have a lot more left to do.
I asked Obi if the bench squad has a name. He said to ask you.
I don't know if we have a name. We might have to ask around. If we do, I don't know.
It seemed like down the stretch, you guys get the respect. You guys really wanted this game from last night. Where does that come from, you guys, especially with this postseason? You guys been able to find a way
I mean, I feel like throughout the series, to start the game, you could really say OKC was getting all the 50 balls and the second chance points. It goes in waves, and you have to have a concerted effort from the group to kind of dig deeper and go to another place competitively, and that's what we continue to do.
DJ, what role?
With the fans, like you've taken that more on each game, each season, of finding a moment within a game and hoping it sparks something.
Yeah, I mean, I love this place. I love our fans, and anytime we can get them energized more than they already are, it takes us to another level, and we need their energy next game.
TJ, what's the role of conditioning plays for you and your team in terms of playing the way you do and having seemingly more energy than your opponent every fourth quarter?
Yeah, I mean, we obviously got to be in good shape. Got to credit Rick and our strength and conditioning staff for preparing us to play this way from the moment Rick walked through the door. And credit to us for kind of taking, and no pun intended, running with it. It's a style of play that he wanted to play, and we've adapted, and we've got to continue to do so.
Is there some that surprised you with all their ability to kind of take a punch coming in the fourth quarter? This is something they're a little stronger. Does that surprise you, or kind of expected?
I wouldn't say it's surprising. That's kind of been, I guess you could say, their identity leading up to this series. It's what's showed up in the games up to this point, and we have to figure out a way to counteract that and kind of change that, swing it in our favor, because it's not a winning formula to not be better than the other team in the fourth quarter.
How valuable is Rick in keeping that mindset just one game at a time, one moment at a time? How key is he in that mindset?
He's a huge part just because he has a lot of experience being in the finals. Like he's won the finals, he's been in the finals a couple times, so he definitely knows what he's talking about. And we also have Pascal, who was a main contender on Toronto's team when they won. So we got two great leaders who've been here. Jim as well. Jim has won some rings as well. But just listening to them, we understand they've been here before and know what it takes. So.
What's going on, bro? How are you doing?
That's good.
Playing for a spot at Myles results.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you, how does it feel to have your family watching the NBA Finals?
Man, it feels amazing. A lot of people know my dad, knew he used to play ball. So I feel super happy for him to have the opportunity to be here and experience this, and obviously have a son playing here. So it's super exciting though. My kids love it. They at an age where they don't really understand what's going on, but they're just screaming because everybody else is screaming and having fun. So I love that they're here watching.
Hope you guys enjoyed hearing from everyone. Again, these are the best consumed on YouTube, where you can actually see them talking in a video form. More coming, of course, tomorrow with Rylan Stiles of Locked On Thunder. Till then, everybody, have a wonderful day.